Good morning. We have started for the ninth chapter, the Triantiwontigongolope. It is Unit 2, page number 21. I explained two passages, two verses of that poem. Today we'll go for the next two verses. It trembles if you tickle. It trembles if you tickle it or tread upon its toes. It is not an early riser, but it has a snubbish nose. If you sneer at it or scold at it, it will scuttle off in shame. But it purrs and purrs quite proudly if you call it by its name and offer it some sandwiches of sealing wax and soap. So try Triantiwontigongolope. So this verse or this passage is telling us that the poet tells us something more about this insect. It is trembling if you tickle. If you tickle means what? And tickle means light touch by someone which evokes laughter. Now तुम्ही म्हणतात the गुदगुदी करना, that is called as tickling. That is a light touch by someone which gets into a laughter. And tremble means to shake due to excitement or fatality. Tremble means to shake due to excitement. It is trembling if you tickle it or step upon its toes. It is tickling, it is trickling. Okay, or if it's trembling or stepping upon its toes. It is not an earlier riser. It does not get up early. It has a fat nose turned up at the end. It has a very fat nose which is turned up at the end. If you give it an unpleasant look, just you look at it, or scold it, or even if you scold that insect, it will run away in shame. It will move away in shame with quick short steps, very fast, but it purrs quite proudly if you call it by its name, and it will purr very quietly. Your purr means what? Sound that cat makes. And if you call by its name and offer it some sandwiches, if you give some sandwiches of sealing wax, something put on it, and soap, that is wax and soap, if you put on it and you give it. So try, says the poet again, to pronounce its name. Now over here I said the meaning of tremble. Tremble means to shake due to excitement. Tickle means light touch by someone. Tread, T-R-E-A-D. Tread means walk in a specific manner. Tread means walk in a specific manner. Snubbish, somewhat short and turned up at the end. Somewhat, that is looking short and it is turning at the end. Scold means to rebuke. Scold, to rebuke. Scuttle. Scuttle means to run hurriedly, to run very fast. Purrs means sound that cat makes. I'll explain that passage again. The poet tells us something more about this insect. It trembles if you tickle it or step upon its toes. It is not an early riser. It has a fat nose turned up at the end. If you give it an unpleasant look or scold it, it will run away in shame with quick short steps, but it purrs quite proudly if you call it by its name and offer it some sandwiches of sealing wax and soap. So try saying the poet again to pronounce its name. Next para. But of course you haven't seen it, and I truthfully confess that I haven't seen it either, and I don't know its address, for there isn't such an insect, though there really might have been. If the trees and grass were purple and the sky was bottle green, it's just a little joke of mine which you will forgive, I hope. Oh, try, Triantiwontigongolope, written by C.J. Dennis. Now this passage or this verse is telling about, that is, the poet is finally giving out his secret truthfully. It is finally telling the secret very fairly, very truly. He says that the reader may not have seen this insect. The reader has not seen this insect. It is truth. Neither has he, the poet. Neither the poet has seen. Nor does he know where it lives. He doesn't know where that insect lives. He says that there isn't such an insect. There is not such an insect which I am talking about. But there might have been one. It might be one of them, provided that the trees and the grass were purple. Now he is telling, think that if the trees and the grass are purple and the sky was bottle green, he says that it was just a joke. It is just a joke. And he asks the reader to forgive him. He asks all the readers to forgive him, because whatever he is telling, it was just an imaginary poem. And he asks the reader to forgive him, but at the end, he once again asks the reader to pronounce the name Triantiwontigongolope. So here in this poem or this passage, over here, confess. Confess means you admit. Yeah, you say that I confess is my mistake. I confess my mistake. I'm sorry for that. Forgive. Forgive means you can say stop feeling angry. Forgive means stop feeling angry or bitter words towards someone for their mistake. Don't use some bitter words towards someone for their mistake. You have to forgive. Forgive means don't use bitter words to someone for their mistakes. I'll read this passage explanation again for you. The poet finally gives out the secret truthfully. He says that the reader may not have seen the insect. Neither has he nor the poet. He doesn't know where it lives. He says that there isn't such an insect, but there might have been one. And he says, think about of the trees and the grass which are purple and the sky as bottle green. He says that it was just a joke, and he asks the reader to forgive him. But at the end, he once again asks the reader to pronounce the name Triantiwontigongolope. So today I explained these two passages. Tomorrow we'll go for the question answers of this chapter. Thank you. Have a great day.